Chapter 133. I Only Like You. Perhaps every bad woman enjoys being favored by men, especially the favoritism of well-bred, handsome men. Even though she no longer liked Ian and had no intention of getting back together, the fact that he still liked her continued to bring her a sense of pleasure. But I feel it's necessary to explain to you, I told you before, as long as you turn around, I'll be there. If Adrian treats you badly, don't forgive him. The words "come to me" were ones Ian ultimately couldn't bring himself to say. He knew that Ava, at least for now, could never get back together with him. But that was okay. A lifetime was long. He had plenty of time to wait for her. Hearing this, Ava only smiled. She didn't respond. Ian was the most obedient and clingy of all her ex-boyfriends, with absolutely no boundaries when it came to her. Even if she'd cheated on him while they were dating, Ian probably would have accepted that she had someone else. But he fell just a bit short. If Ian had his brother's capabilities and achievements, she might have considered marrying him. But Ian was still growing. She wasn't willing to wait for someone to mature. Who knew if once the fruit ripened, someone else would pluck it away? She preferred to pick fruit that was already ripe. Ian, thanks for driving me home. Standing outside the car with her bag, Ava curved her lips at the person in the back seat. The pale yellow streetlight bathed her, making her fresh face look especially gentle. She said, "Goodbye," and closed the door. The car started up again, but Ian's gaze remained fixed on the window, watching as Ava turned and walked through the villa gates. The car stopped outside a nightclub. Ian checked the message from his friend and headed straight to their usual booth. "Ian, why so late? Did you go pick up your little Charlotte again?" Seeing Ian, his friends immediately started teasing. Ian kicked the friend who'd spoken. "Could you please fuck off? Why would I go pick her up for no reason? Do I look that idle?" Lucas Bennett laughed. "Stop pretending. It's not the first time you've picked her up. Besides Ava, I've never seen you pick up any other girl. Now that Ava's married, dating someone would be good for you. You think I need you to tell me that?" Ian elbowed his friend. He'd come back to the country because he'd heard Ava and Wesley broke up. But the moment he got off the plane, Lucas came to pick him up and told him Ava had gotten married, as if he couldn't stand to see him doing too well. But seriously, they got married way too fast. How long had Ava even been broken up with Wesley? Another friend shrugged. Someone immediately chimed in. Could she have something in her belly? Had to get married? Suddenly, Ian's expression darkened. "Don't talk nonsense." Lucas shoved the friend who'd just spoken. "Watch your mouth. Don't you know Ava's child-free? I heard Wesley and Ava broke up partly because of that." He couldn't accept being child-free? Ian looked down at the first floor, asking his friend while scanning the crowd. Lucas nodded. "Seems like it." Ian shot up. "I'm leaving. You guys have fun." "Hey." Lucas had just opened his mouth when Ian was already gone like a gust of wind. He clicked his tongue and turned to the friend who'd speculated about Ava being pregnant. "You know full well that Ava's name is his trigger. Don't run your mouth in front of him next time." The friend laughed dryly. How was he supposed to know that Ian, after being dumped for nearly 2 years, still had feelings for Ava? In a dim alley, the dull thud of fists hitting flesh echoed intermittently. Under a street lamp, 2 men of similar build stood face to face. "You don't understand her at all, and you had the nerve to confess to her. I should have known from the start. You're fake as hell. You're completely wrong for Ava." Wesley didn't speak. Ian wasn't wrong. He was fake. He'd agreed to Ava's terms verbally, yet still tried to change her. It was precisely because of his hypocrisy that he'd gotten what he deserved. Ava had gotten married, so quickly, without giving him any chance to regret it. Before I left, I remember telling you that Ava isn't as happy as she appears on the surface. She's fragile and needs to be cherished. I told you to think carefully and not to hurt her. You agreed readily enough, but when it came to hurting her, you showed no mercy at all. Wesley's throat tightened. His hands at his sides clenched slightly. Ian had found him before going abroad and told him many things. Like not to restrain Ava from doing what she wanted. If he stopped her, she'd be unhappy. And that Ava wasn't as forgiving as she seemed. Don't try to change her, she wouldn't like it. There had been much more besides. Actually, at the time, he hadn't taken Ian's words very seriously because Ian was Ava's ex. When he said those things, it felt somewhat provocative. If he'd thought carefully, he would have realized that most of what Ian said about Ava was the real Ava. He'd already known Ava was on as innocent and cheerful as she appeared from the moment he saw those photos his brother had. Photos of Ava deliberately seducing Adrian. He had accepted that side of Ava. He'd never thought about changing her. When he learned how biased Ava's parents were, he'd lost sleep from heartache. He'd secretly vowed to treat Ava well for the rest of his life. So why had he lied to her? Was it because he discovered Ava was monitoring his whereabouts? Or was it because he'd received Ava's love? That intense, suffocating love. At first, he'd felt incredibly happy. But gradually, he'd found it hard to bear. He just needed to breathe. He hadn't stopped loving her. He hadn't fallen for anyone else. He just needed time to adjust. Who drove you home? When Ava entered the bedroom, Adrian was just walking in from the balcony. His gloomy voice filled the room. Ava wasn't surprised. Adrian's old habits were acting up again. When they were dating before, whenever she spoke more than a few words to another guy, Adrian would have a problem with it. She used to think Adrian was a psycho. Never thought she'd turn out to be one too. Ian. The moment Ava spoke, a large hand covered her waist, and her entire body crashed into Adrian's embrace. Ava looked up at him. His lips pressed tight, his jawline taut. He looked very unhappy. Ava wrapped her arms around Adrian and stood on her tiptoes to kiss him. He was dropping someone else off and I was on the way, so he gave me a ride. We broke up ages ago. I don't even like his type at all. I only like you.